Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing through Model Railway. As I've said previously, I'm going to try and now move on from these parts. I'm going to try and get like bulk details done before I start adding in the finer details. So what I'm thinking of doing now today is putting on the shaker deck for sorting the ballast here. We've got loads of decent pictures for it. The only issue that we don't have with the pictures is what's below this point coming up here. There's something there, but you can't really make it out. I'm assuming the hopper goes all the way down because you've got the conveyor belt coming up the top here. So I'm assuming there's some sort of hopper that comes down all the way to the bottom here, coming underneath the chassis. I will produce this, I think, as a separate part that. Now I'm probably going to have to dig out the chassis actually, have this a part that sits inside it. But yeah, we'll try and flesh this out as best we can based on the pictures that we've got. So I'm making a little bit of an assumption here based off of this photo that the side of the hopper sits out slightly from the side of the engine compartment here. So we'll be creating an offset plane to draw the side face on and then extruding across the unit. Okay, so coming into Fusion, what I'm going to do is create an offset plane, as I said. I'm going to offset it from the side of the engine compartment here. I think I'm just going to come out maybe, yeah, 0.5 mil, I think, maybe fine. Okay, creating a new component. I'm going to call this shaker. And make sure the radio button's checked when I draw this. Okay, I'm going to create a sketch off of that offset plane we just created, and I'm going to sort of freehand around. Okay, so first thing I want to look at is gap here. So there is a gap. So I'm going to go at that point. Okay, looking at this, it does come up above it. So draw another point from there. It goes up slightly, so I'm going to draw it across like this, and I'm going to drag that part to join, and then cut off just the end of it there. Okay, so now I'm going to go down with this part. Let's find out where this intersects. So this comes down a little bit where this ram is. So this, I'm thinking, is the ram here. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Try and work out which of these lines now is the one for the bottom of the shaker. So there's two. So I reckon this goes down at an angle underneath here. This is the top part, maybe? Yeah, so I'm going to draw a line on this, trying to drag across. Yeah, that looks like it meets there, okay. And then this bottom part's going to be at an angle, so we'll have to chop that out in a bit. I wonder if this goes flat here, because that angle doesn't come up. I've got a feeling that does this along here. Because looking at this angle to me looks like it carries on up here, it doesn't intersect down the bottom here. So I reckon this comes a slight angle is parallel to this beam. Does it come down 90 degrees? It can't really tell because it's all hidden behind the rams and stuff. So I'm just going to bring that down like that. Let's trim out that bit there. I'm going to leave it as that. Okay, so let's extrude this. I'm going to spin it around. I'm going to extrude it flat with the back of the engine to the middle of the unit. Get a new body. Obviously it's a hopper, so we're going to need to shell it out. Let's turn the rest of these off. Shell on that surface and that surface. So on 0.8 millimeters, and I'm just going to extrude that face off. Yeah, I'm happy with that, I think. Here we go. On this picture, you can see that this definitely angles in on this base, comes up, and that's flat on that surface. And it looks like maybe it's some sort of rubber that feeds into the channel conveyor belt that goes up the top here. So that sort of helped plan this out. So I think what I'm looking to do on here, turn the chassis off. I think what I'm going to do is create an offset plane from the angled surface there, just coming down maybe 2 millimeters. And then I'm going to create a sketch on there, projecting on that original hopper, and then just maybe drawing a line that comes along that's I think maybe 2 millimeters. And then finish that, and then loft between the two. So loft from there to there to create that angled edge on it. And then looking at this one, it looks like it's obviously got an angled piece. This comes down as well. So doing a similar process there, I'm going to create an offset plane there, down 2 millimeters. Sketch onto that surface, projecting the original, draw a line across like that, that's defined. Define the distance there as 2 meters as well. Finish the sketch and then loft between the two, so from that bottom surface to the larger of the two there. Tell it to join, not cut, so it doesn't cut through this bit. Yeah, I think that looks okay actually. Let's put these back on. I think for me that basic shape there looks pretty reasonable. Obviously this is a separate part, so the chassis at the moment isn't an issue, but we will have to chop a hole out of the chassis as well. A, for this to fit in, but also the conveyor that goes underneath that comes up over the top of this really cab here. But I like that, quite like that for the basic profile shape. So let's try and sort of add some more of the detail, but not too much. We're going to try and do some basic stuff to it. So I think I'm going to add on this. I'm assuming this is some sort of motor behind here. So when you look at some of the pictures, it seems to be going all the way across. Well, it could just be a panel there. It's very difficult to see in any of the pictures. But I'm going to add that. So I'm going to add this onto the side here. It's nice and simple. Using the canvas as a guide. Draw on the side profile of hop we've just drawn. Find what roughly looks like the midpoint Not a bad guess actually. We go 5mm. Is that going to be yes? It's 4.75. About 4.75 millimeters. Find the height from the top edge there. 1mm, and the height from the corner point there. 1.15. Selecting both. Cancel that. Sorry, me fat fingers. Selecting both of those profiles. Just going to extrude this out. I think maybe 1mm. Looking at the thickness there, looks about 6 inches or so. I think that will do on that. Okay, so I think other than adding a lot of the detail to this, the basic hopper shape's sort of done there. So what I'm going to do the rest of the lesson here is just going to dig out the chassis so that the hopper can sit inside it. Now, as I said, none of the photos are really that great for showing what's going on in that area. If we sort of have a look around, you can see we've got, this probably goes similar sort of width as the shaker, maybe slightly, ever so slightly outside it. So I think what we can do is we turn the cab roof off. I'm going to draw a sketch on the chassis there. I think, let's have a look, see if we can find a picture that shows in the area right behind the cab. This area here. There's nothing. Yeah, I think I'm going to dig out all the way along. So if we go, select and take that point there. I'm going to come ever so slightly outside the width of the shaker. Okay, now we need to know what goes to the other end. So we're looking sort of at this area where this conveyor belt comes up. Yeah, I reckon it stops just behind this part here. What I'm thinking is if we come to that'd be too weak now, I think, if we do that. I'm actually going to come slightly back of it. And we'll do that like that. Okay. So 7.25 wide. That first angle, 37.85. It's going to be 149.2. It's parallel to this side here with a length of 7.0473. That was basically using the blue lines to match up to there. Distance there is already constrained. You'll want the dimensions from there to cover off the end of the chassis. That's all fully defined there. Turn the cab on, cab roof on, and then we're just going to extrude this all the way through to the base, cutting that. What I might go and do in the future is add a little bit of support in here if it needs it, but we'll have a look once we've constructed the whole of the unit there. Okay, so now I think we've got the basic shape there, we've got this dug out. I think we're going to leave it at that for now. We might come back on and add the rubber mounts on this at another point, but it'll depend on how the angle of the conveyor belt looks once we've got that in place. But I'm going to leave this episode here. Hope you've been able to follow along okay with this and been able to get this to this point yourself. If you, as I say, if you get stuck, send me a message. I'm more than happy to help you. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.